I'm here with Bishop Gene Robinson in Maine. We're talking about the Maine campaign tonight, the No on One campaign to protect marriage equality. And it's tonight at 7 p.m. and we're here talking about the campaign and about a couple other issues. Thanks for taking the time with me.
You're very welcome.
So why are you in Maine today? If you were going to talk to people of faith about the marriage ballot initiative, what would you say?
You know, the main message that I want to bring to the state of Maine and to religious people here is that religious people and religious institutions have no reason to fear marriage equality. I think that there is this a feeling that somehow religious organizations or religious people will be forced to preside over gay weddings or add their blessing or something of that sort. The freedom of religion is fully protected here, and there is nothing being proposed that would change that. The question is, are we going to provide equal rights to all of the citizens of Maine and ultimately all the citizens of this nation? And, you know, we know that marriage is a civil act because, first of all, you can be married without benefit of clergy by a justice of the peace, and you're just as married as anyone else. But also, even if you're married in a church, if that marriage comes apart and you want to get a divorce, you don't go back to the church for the divorce, you go to the courts. So it's very clear that marriage is a civil act. And the reason it's become so confused in this country is that we have decided to deputize clergy as agents of the state in doing that civil act of marriage. So when people go to a wedding, they really don't know when the civil part begins and ends and when the religious part begins and ends. So, for instance, in New Hampshire, where marriage equality becomes a reality on January 1st, I've suggested to my clergy that we get out of the marrying business, that we identify a justice of the peace in each of our congregations, and then when someone comes to be married, gay or straight, we let the civil authority do what the civil authority does, which is to marry them, and then the priest takes over and does what the church does, which is to bless that wedding.
Now, do you find a lot of disagreement? There's been disagreement over your election, disagreement over women presiding in the Episcopal Church. Is there a lot of disagreement, another schism in the church over marriage?
No, I don't think so. Are we of one mind? Absolutely not. And are we, as a church, ready to change our prayer book so that the wedding service becomes interchangeable with gay weddings and heterosexual weddings? No, I don't think we're quite there yet. But we are certainly of a mind, and they're going on everywhere, to bless unions of gay and lesbian couples in those places where there is marriage equality, like New Hampshire, like Connecticut, Vermont, Iowa. We'll find many of our clergy blessing those marriages. But again, not required. Sorry. Not required. And that's why I think religious people need not be fearful that somehow they are going to be forced to do something they don't want to do. And, you know, it's funny, when you talk about separation of church and state, it's usually the church that's fearful that the state is going to impinge on the church. But in this debate, I think we see the church trying to force its values on the state. And so, you know, separation of church and state works both ways. And I intend to point that out in my talk tonight.